Ready. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Part 3, Salt of the Streets, episode 140. My name is Donovan.
I am Colin.
We are extremely happy to have you guys here. You can find us, obviously, youtube.com, Salt of the Streets, and everything. Instagram, Facebook, Patreon /Salt of the Streets. Go there, subscribe, help us make more better content like this. You can find everything at saltofthestreets.com, including our own personal social media. I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram, and Colin's at Big Bird Offie on both of those things.
Fucking nailed it.
Yeah, our sponsor for this segment is Leggings and Aprons. Go there. Buy some goods. Some English muffins. She's been slanging the muffs the last couple of weeks.
Whoa.
She can mail them to you. She can mail them to you. We've sent them as far as Florida. Joseph, that's you. You want some homemade English muffins? They go anywhere you want.
That's right.
We'll send them anywhere.
They ship well.
They do. They ship very well. They freeze well. They store well. They're delicious. If you want some, go there. Leggings and Aprons.
Question.
Yes.
So this is a question for Jordan.
Okay.
So you can answer for her. Put words in her mouth. When she ships the English muffs, are they fully baked already?
Yes.
Would it be a thing to shape them, do the thing, and then maybe with a little instruction card, ship them out in a little freezer box? So then people with instructions get them, they defrost them, they proof. This is how you bake them. Go to town. Cuts down on some time.
That would take some experimenting, but that's possible. I don't see any reason that's not possible.
I feel like it's just an easier way to scale up.
Right. Part of it, it's not bad because the biggest deal is time. Like that's where most of the cost comes in is time. It takes her a long time to.
It's bread.
Right.
It's a fuck.
Yeah, and they're done on the stove. Like that's how
Yeah.
they're cooked on the stove. So it just takes time to do that. But I think that she would have to try.
Yeah.
You know, she would have to try it out. That's very interesting.
It's like the HelloFresh version of home baked goods.
Right.
Big fan. Big
Interesting.
fan. Think about it, Jordan.
Very interesting.
Ooh.
Oh, the
So
goose
these are-
feathers.
Yeah, these are hand-plucked goose feathers from the Canadian goose I brought down the other day. So I would like you to
Wow.
give one of those to Jordan for me, since you will
Really?
see her before I do.
Absolutely.
And then I'm gonna fuck around. I'm gonna YouTube some videos about learning how to make these feathers into fucking ink pens.
That's a thick,
Yeah,
like you had this coming out of your body, bro?
yeah,
What?
man. And it's like they're kind of a bitch to pluck.
I
but-
bet.
But not as hard as I would have thought. We'll put it that way. Mind you, that bird had been dead for a few hours, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah. There you go. There's, boop, boop,
No, thick that
stick.
is.
And it's hollow, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I know dragons are real.
What?
Because for a dragon to be flying around, it would have had hollow
okay.
bones.
All right.
And hollow bones don't fucking fossilize.
I gotcha.
Fucking
Interesting.
nailed it. That's why dragons are real, bro.
And hollow bones don't fossilize?
Not generally, no. Not in the standard fossilization method. No, they can't. They break down. They're too thin.
Really?
They don't withstand the fossilization process. But, I mean, there's depictions of dragons in every culture around the entire fucking world. So, you know, hashtag the dragons are real, bro. We're real.
All right.
I'm into it.
Okay.
Okay. I can't segue into that one. I was going to segue into fuck Walmart,
but to see how you were going to do it.
Hard segue time. So we were just discussing
Your hate for
certain
Walmart.
goods that you can only procure at Walmart or on the internet, right? Which sucks. But also the fact that I can buy on its Alpha Brain at Walmart is a really nice thing because
Very
it's very
convenient.
convenient to go swing out and grab up. I fucked up at some point and I became subject to them Dr. Squatch videos, the Dr. Squatch soap line, and I needed to have some of those, but I'm not going to buy them online because that's like when you have to buy something online, it's like the first line of defense for me.
It's a whole commitment.
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to save myself the expense of buying something by I can only get online. But Walmart also sells Dr. Squatch soap.
Okay.
And Dr. Squatch deodorant and a couple other little knick-knack things that they sell. But I hate the fact that I have to go to Walmart because I fucking hate Walmart.
Yes.
But there is one thing in this world I hate more than Walmart.
Okay.
Target.
Why?
Because Target is Walmart. It's the Walmart that thinks it's better than Walmart.
It is better.
And so the people that go to Target are the people of Walmart who are too good to go to Walmart.
The shit at Target is better, though.
I mean, by how much? By the difference in the price point? I don't think so.
I think it depends on what the item is, because they still have like a tiered system of items,
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I mean, because there's Target
would-
brand stuff, right?
Right. And some of that shit is super cheap. Like most of our
Mm-hmm.
daily use plates and bowls are plastic ones from Target because Jordan likes the colors. I get you can get it from Walmart too, I guess, but that are
The problem,
50
the difference
cents
is
or
probably
$1.
like the ones you buy at Walmart still have the BPAs, and the ones you buy at Target don't.
I think they're the same brand and everything. I think you just can get them at both stores.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
yeah, it's the same shit. So it just depends, I think probably on average shit is just more expensive at Target. But I
Yeah.
think it's the employee base is not better.
No,
The employees are like the exact same.
I've seen all the fucking videos, bro.
Yeah,
It
the
gets
quality
wild at
is all
Target.
the exact same as far as the employees.
Yeah, I mean, is the product that much better?
No, the products are near identical.
You just pay more for pretending you're not a person of Walmart.
For pretend.
Yeah, for you still are. And like, if you didn't have a Target, you'd still be a person of Walmart. But there's a Target there, so you don't have to be a person of Walmart, even though you still are. That's where I'm at with that. I love Don's mind being blown about the Dragons facts.
Yeah, I mean,
love
I'm
it.
willing to
You're
accept
like,
it.
whoa, okay.
That's fine.
It's one of those things where you can't disprove it, so
Don't have
it
any
has
way
to hang out
disprove
there.
it. Yeah, precisely. Precisely.
Oh, I mean, even I don't know where we want to start with this. Let's start with Garrett's thing. Just
Okay.
we can read that thing and talk about it. But
It's Bilbo, actually.
Bilbo, shout out Bilbo. Yeah, Iran moving warships to Panama Canal.
Yeah.
So to tie that in with dragons, even like the Syrian people back in the days of ancient Assyrian shit had depictions of fucking dragons.
Okay.
They have that shit everywhere. China, all over the place. I mean,
China dragons, yep.
in in Europe, in Western Europe, in Eastern Europe, in fucking Africa, everywhere, depiction of dragons.
So the theory you're laying out is that they existed, but because they have hollow bones, there's no evidence.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And apparently, I'm just going to say this.
Seen the movie Reign of Fire, right?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good movie.
It's a pretty good movie. It's
Christian
not the
Bale.
best dragon movie, but it's the only decent one I think we have.
What's the best dragon movie?
I don't know. I mean, there was, what is that? It's not Brave. Dragonheart.
know.
When I was a kid, Dragonheart was the shit with one of the Quaid guys. Was it Dennis Quaid maybe was in
Probably.
that? And Sean Connery voiced the dragon.
Okay.
That was an amazing movie until I rewatched it, and it does not hold up.
Yeah.
And then they made like 4 or 5 other ones, which are
Reign
all
of
just
Fire
terrible.
is still pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's just, I don't know. They have the thing that gets me about that movie,
let's hear
right,
it.
is it's awesome, right? The action is great. The setting
Christian
is
Bale,
great.
Matthew McConaughey.
The overall story is great, right? But what they do in that movie that I'm not a huge fan of is they kind of like, to make it a little bit more realistic, they kind of divert from all the dragon lore, right? These dragons burn shit and then they eat carbon in that movie, right?
Okay.
So that's why that whole thing's going on. And it works for the movie. It's great, right? But it's just that's the first time I ever heard that shit. You know,
They eat
dragons.
carbon, and I don't remember it enough to.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. It's
so
like they go around, they burn shit, and then they fucking eat the carbon and shit like that. And that's
Oh, okay.
that's what they survive. If I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
Yeah, but
You've got a pretty good memory.
I've
for
seen that
type of
movie
shit.
a lot. I really do like that movie. That fucking scene, Christian Bale and the fucking action, he's flying through the air. Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah. My only real problem with like dragon movies, there's not enough of them. So we don't have that many to pick from, and most of them are pretty cheesy and terrible. And so Reign of Fire kind of reigns supreme, even though you could do so much more.
Do they usually just eat people? They
Yeah,
like that's
people,
the-
farm animals, they fucking eat meat and shit.
Yeah.
You know? And then they enjoy barbecue, hence the fire. But
Yeah, I'll have to look. I wonder if that's on Prime or something. I'll have to watch that again.
I know it's on one of the things. because I keep seeing it show up in all my recommendeds. I haven't watched it in a number of years. Maybe I should tonight. It's
Yeah.
a good fucking movie, man. Christian Bale, so good. So good. There's that movie I really wish he was in, but it's actually Chris Evans in the movie. It's about that, the train.
Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
That movie's fucking fire,
Yeah.
dude. That movie is great. I haven't seen that shit in a long time.
You can
That is,
watch it on Tubi.
well, you know,
Ring of
you
Fire.
could,
Yeah.
but, but we're not going to. I like what
Well, you could. Oh, it's so good.
it's like. We could go to Target.
Oh,
you
that's
could.
so good.
I like
You can
when
also
you,
rent it on Prime.
there you go. Rent or buy. I'll buy it. Actually, I
Yeah.
might have the fucking DVD floating around somewhere.
I bet you do.
I might. It's one of those things. I don't think I've upgraded to Blu-ray on it, but
6.2 stars.
yeah. Well, you don't. I don't think I pay attention to that
Gerard
shit.
Butler's in that movie.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Early Gerard Butler, man.
Yeah.
Before he was fucking. He's got a new movie coming out. It's called like Plane
Raise
or
a
something like
Pilot?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks dope.
These are my passengers.
Yeah. Fucking Gerard Butler is amazing. The law-abiding citizen.
Yeah. You okay? Yeah.
I watched that relatively recently. That's fucking money. Yeah, you just give that dude like a crashed up vehicle of some kind and access to weaponry, you have a movie. It's done.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Was he in like those Olympus movies too? Like Olympus
He
Down
was in
and
one
London
of them,
Down?
I think. Yeah, I think the first one he was in, and the second one was Ice Cube, right?
I'd never.
I'm pretty sure.
Is that the London one?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
I don't think I just saw the White House one.
Yeah, and then he was in Den of Thieves too. I talk about that movie all the time. He was in Den of Thieves.
Yeah,
He's the-
you've got a
I love
raging hard on for that movie.
That's so good. Den of Thieves is so fire. It's
Den
really,
of Thieves is the new Heat.
Yeah, it's really all about that scene of what's his face unloading that machine gun
Yeah.
down into traffic. You know, that's really what it. Yeah, just that whole drum he unloads and then just dips. Wild. Sitting in the truck, I was thinking about that on the way here. It's so funny because I had my fucking vest, you know, sitting to the side, and there's this right before that. They're all sitting in the car, and they see the cops are coming up, and I ate 50 cents. It's like, yo, give me my vest, man. So they all start getting kidded up. I was like, yeah, that's pretty sick.
What would you say is the best car chase shootout in movies that you can recall, other than fucking Den of Thieves?
Oh, and that's not really a car chase. They get stuck in traffic, you know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. The Town has a lot of really good car chases in it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what mine is.
What you got?
Fucking Bad Boys 2.
Okay.
On the fucking A1A down in Florida,
yeah.
and they're fucking flipping all them cars and shit. I mean,
Yeah.
that, and it rivals.
It's an explodey movie.
It's a very exploding movie, but it rivals True Lies. Arnold
Okay.
Schwarzenegger, and same fucking road, same shit, like on the highway and shit like that. I think that's right at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
He's got the fucking helicopter coming in. Oh, dude, that movie's great. When was the last time you watched True Lies?
Oh, I don't fucking know.
Oh, it's such a good movie. Forget, there's like a James Cameron did that movie, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Fairly fucking sure that's a James Cameron movie. I'm not going to look it up, prove myself wrong, because I want to talk about Iran sending ships down to fucking Panama.
Yeah, Bilbo gave us this one right before the break here. Hadn't heard about this. Iran Navy sending ships to Panama Canal, says commander.
Yeah, so
That's nice.
the Islamic Republic of Iran Navy. That's too much. The Islamic Republic of Iran Navy. I feel like there should be like an apostrophe S. Is sending ships to the Panama Canal, according to an article published in state-run media Friday. The Iranian Navy has yet to operate in two straits in the world. Navy Commander Rear Admiral Shahram Irani said Wednesday at a Navy ceremony, according to the Tehran Times. One of them is the Panama Canal. Irani did not identify the other strait, but said the Iranian Navy would operate in it this year. Excuse me. Irani did not lay out a similar timeline of when ships may head to the Panama Canal. You don't fucking say. Quote, today, if my comrades are approaching the shores of the American continent, they are showing signs of the authority of dear Iran. He said, as a showcase of the dear people of our country, we appeared in the Pacific Ocean for the first time. Of course, along this route, Australia and the French created threats for us and tried to violate the laws they had approved to cross their coasts. But we answered them with authority and according to the law, end quote. He went on to say the Iranian Navy has set up commands in the Atlantic and Indian Oceans with one expected in the Pacific Ocean this year. The Iranian Navy has been trying to extend its international presence and range of port visits. Bahman, how do you say that? Banman Ben? Benam Ben. Oh my God, I'm so bad at this. I hate those. I can't with those.
Oh, yeah.
An Iran expert of the Foundation of the Defense of Democracy has told USNI News, however, whether it makes it to Panama Canal is unclear, as the Iranian Navy is known to be hyperbolic. He said, you don't say. Quote, if anything, the statement tells one more about Iran intentions than capabilities, as the regime tries to project strength abroad when it is increasingly looked weak at home.
So they're just flexing then.
They flexing. I mean, their extensive fleet, obviously isn't that fucking extensive, but this could just be a statement at this point. I mean, there might be nothing to bar them from going through there. I mean, if a Iranian vessel trolling the waters of the world is not going to threaten, America's supremacy on the oceans. We'll put it that way, and if they're going to need to be making a statement of power and authority, and this works for them, that's a pretty, we can fuck with them every which way as they go along. I mean, I'm sure there's very, very narrow routes they can go, this and that and the other thing, and they could be escorted by other ships at certain times or whatever. I mean, the West will flex on them to the nth degree, but the nice thing about Iran is that there is really no free press there other than state media. And so you can kind of paint whatever story you want, and they can show up in Panama and take some pictures and, we fucking did this. We're fucking awesome.
Right.
And I wouldn't
They could show up with Panama
point.
Just in the background and be like, we out here.
We here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That sounds kind of like a flex to me. Honestly, I'm not that worried about the Iranian Navy. I mean, unless we run out of... If we run out of Tomahawk missiles, that might be kind of a problem. Right. But I think we're not launching a bunch of torpedoes these days, so I imagine we still got torpedoes.
Tomahawks, the Patriots.
Yeah. I mean, we got pinpoint accuracy, precision. Get a little fucking skiff out there with some Navy SEALs out there, paint up the fucking target, and we'll launch some hellfire on them. It'll work. I don't want to advocate for that. That's mean. Let them go troll the ocean, bro. That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine.
This is fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Just the dog in the burning house. This is fine.
This is fine. Do you disagree with that? Kind of a flex?
No,
do we need to worry about it?
I don't know much what to make of that. I'd have to think about it. I don't see what...
Given everything that's going on at home, seems logical. It'd be a good time to do some military flexing when you can.
Yeah.
It seems logical.
Especially
that
if
would be a good
building
thing.
up their Navy,
Yeah.
Trying to show what the capabilities are.
Yeah.
I don't know, Bilbo. What's your?
Where you at, Bilbo?
Yeah, I'm interested. What your take is. So,
interesting.
Okay, so Ukraine, right? So let's get a game update, right?
Oh,
What's going on with the game?
what's going on with the game?
Oh,
holy
shit!
Shit! No fucking way, ladies and gentlemen! Breaking fucking news: the 9-8 Seahawks are currently winning 17-16. Against a 13 and 4.
So the second half just started. Damn.
Bud.
So it must have been quite Geno's 9 for 10, 104 yards and a teeter. Kenneth Walker's got 54 yards.
Yeah.
And a touchdown.
Rushing, receiving. Fucking DK Metcalf out there
4
putting
for
up
73
numbers.
and a tud piece.
Yeah, buddy.
Lockett's out there spreading it
2
around
and
a little
13 a little bit.
I mean, Kenneth Walker has 13 carries. So he's just gashing up their defense, huh?
Well, I would imagine that's probably the best. I mean, the 49ers, they have a pretty good zone coverage type thing, right?
Yeah.
Passing on them can be tough, especially if you're fucking Geno and you love to throw interceptions because you can't hit a target worth of shit.
4.2 is pretty good too.
That is
4.2
good.
clip, yeah.
Wow. They might be turning this shit up. So nothing in the first quarter.
Should have done this. 17 in the second quarter.
Bro.
God damn.
That is, and then you go into the half.
You're just heating up, huh?
You go in the half, heating up like that. They scored either a touchdown with a missed field goal or
Just 2 field goals.
or 2 field goals.
We should have. God, dude, we should have hosted this episode from a bar.
Don't tempt me with a good time, all right? I don't want to do this. Because you know for a fact I could be at fucking Echoes right now. We could be sitting up in the mezzanine hosting this fucking podcast and there'd be no issues.
Yeah.
There'd be no issues.
We're talking about live show again soon. I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
We can host it at my fucking brewery.
Yeah.
We can.
Yeah,
we
that's
can-
not bad.
Yeah, fucking homeboy would hook us up with the mezzanine.
Mm-hmm.
Get some people going. See what's up. Could be positioning themselves for a larger conflict in the future. Their tiny navy could wreak havoc on such a small and important waterway. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
The Panama Canal is very, very sensitive. Very sensitive. They can do some stupid shit and really fuck up the entire world like that.
Interesting.
The only other way is a long ass route all the way down the fucking I forget what that's called, but down the Horn of fucking South Africa, in between, or South America and Antarctica, and shit gets rough down there. Look at the fucking Seahawks, bro. I don't want to look at this. I'm getting all excited now.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's nice.
Oof. Okay, so hopefully I'll remember to do some more periodic updates on that. So let's talk about Ukraine.
Yeah, so we talked about the 45 trillion or 45 billion that was added in our omnibus bill, and that was just provisional. That was just tacked right onto the end of it. We have talked about...
Did you hear about the latest fucking apartment block that got smashed out by a Russian missile attack? Yeah, not good. Not good.
So the missile attacks continue. The war rages on.
Indeed.
We continue to send money and weapons.
Yeah, lots of weapons.
Various European countries have said they're going to send tanks and also other weapons. Germany's like, hey, we're fucking sending shit over there now. We're balling.
We too are also sending Bradley fighting vehicles now.
Yeah.
That's a whole deal, man. Yeah, we're up in the ante. It's not just fucking drones and missiles anymore.
Yeah.
HIMARS. Now we're looking at, a fucking Bradley fighting vehicle, a whatever the fuck a French tank is, or the British tanks and shit like that. Those aren't defensive weapons.
Challenger 2s is what
Challenger
they're called.
2s? Ooh.
Yeah.
They all look the same anymore. Once we made the Abrams, they're like, okay, everybody do that.
Right.
Because it's fucking beast. But
so let me ask you this. Corporate media would say to us, the Ukrainians look like they can win this war. And, because that's what they're saying now.
Yeah.
That's why we're investing and that's why European countries are investing is because it looks like Ukraine can win this war now against Russia. So corporate media would tell us, Colin, as hosts that oppose them, it looks like they can win this war and you guys are supposed to be all for freedom and liberty. So what's your beef with Ukraine and with the spending that we're doing over there? What are you afraid of? What's the fucking...
Let me ask you, I need a retort.
Just pretend I'm Anderson
another
Cooper.
question. Okay, Anderson. Let me ask you this question. What do you mean winning the war? What does winning the war look like to Ukraine?
Defending their boundaries the way that they were set before Russia invaded.
Is this before Crimea? Is this before the USR took them over? What are we talking about here? What is the line here? Anderson, I'm just asking questions over here, Anderson.
Right,
what are we talking about? Are we talking about just the Donbass? Are we talking about the annexed regions? What does victory look like? Are we going to be trying to kick the shit in of fucking Russia a little bit just to show them who's boss? What does that look like? We have our own measure of victory here in the West of essentially kick in Russia until they stop. And once they stop, no matter where the lines are, we don't give a fuck. As long as it's done at that point, and Russia there's two things that are going on right now, right? The first thing and most important to the West is Russia is showing their war capabilities for the first time in decades at this point. The largest deployment of troops, their logistical failures, what kind of machinery they're putting out there, and how it's going for them. And it ain't going that fucking great. The West, as far as intel goes, we've already downgraded them as how powerful a world power they really are, at least in a land war, right? And in the air, because they keep getting fucking MiG shot out of the sky because of our, I don't know what the weapon system's called, but the ground deployed fucking, over the shoulder missile that you can shoot down fucking
the javelins.
The javelin missiles, there you go. Those seem to be working pretty well. For one, so we're getting a intel on their military capabilities, and we're also getting intel on our own equipment's weapon capability.
How it can be
stuff that we haven't really had to use in the war in Afghanistan for 20 years. This is all testing ground for that. So tons of good info there.
This is modern warfare.
Yes.
This is what's happening now is modern warfare.
Yes. And the second thing we're also getting at this point, drones and all. Multiple kinds of drones as well. A whole different thing. Little fucking buzzy drones that go over and drop grenades in foxholes. That type of shit too.
Also the big Iranian ones. Yeah, all kinds.
One a dude can carry in his backpack, deploy 100 yards away, and then go take out a nested gun. Because you can do that with a fucking drone.
Clip a grenade to
right?
it. Yeah.
Done. It's very simple.
Those have been wild to watch. The grenades dropping from a drone.
I don't like watching people get killed.
Yeah.
But I've seen it a lot in this thing, and it's very uncomfortable to watch like conscripts get fucking murdered.
Watched the one like fucking yesterday.
That one was rough. But the other thing we're getting right,
we could still see that. I sent it like 2 days ago.
I know, man. That was wild.
Was still fucking on the
internet.
You
didn't even have to go to Live Leak.
No.
My father-in-law watches a lot of that shit. He finds them. He just finds them on YouTube, just random, Civil War stuff and all this shit all over over Africa and everywhere, dude. It's nuts. I don't know. His recommendations are fucking lit. You just turn that shit on. It's like, well, let's watch some war movies.
Well, I
Real
imagine
life.
that being from South America, he's seen some wild shit.
When he was in the military too for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back like when they were fighting Peru and all these, it was all fucked up.
So
back
he's
then.
probably seen some fucking wild shit, and he's just like, I'm just trying to go back to the glory days.
He appreciates that shit.
That's lit, dude.
So we got the first one right.
him.
We got lots of intel, weaponry, enemy, good stuff. The second thing we're getting out of this is we're depleting their military.
Yeah.
We're depleting their assets.
Good old American interests.
And we're seeing how fast they logistically can replenish their assets. How, at this point, you fight a land war anywhere in the world, America's going to wipe the fucking floor with you because we can get there, we get the job done, we got better weaponry, we got all that shit.
And we don't have to use that many dudes because our technology is so good.
Exactly.
We don't have to waste that many guys.
Yes.
We got to steal people from their homes and throw them into the fucking battlefield to just try and keep the numbers up.
Yeah. So definitely women have to go, they have to sign up for the draft because ain't nobody getting drafted. Because if Ukraine can do it, we have a standing army that is ready to do all that shit. Well, maybe. We'll see about that because we have our own problems with force readiness right now. But I think those are two big, massive things. So for us, we continue to win the longer this goes on. The more depleted, the more Russia's army gets, the more intel we continue to get from how Russia fights. We go, okay, well, Russia's essentially a paper tiger now, except for that one pesky little fucking nuclear thing, but that doesn't really have to do with the war thing.
So what are you afraid of? Why are you against Ukraine spending if you think if we're gaining from this?
Because I don't trust Zelensky or the Ukrainians to make good decisions. I think they will make emotional decisions because whatever percentage of their population has been fucking murdered by Russians. They're
in cold blood.
They do not have the West's best interest at heart. And so if I'm going to put my fucking neocon hat on for a while and pretend like this is all just about protecting America's interests, which is why we're involved in this whole thing to begin with, it's at a certain
protecting
point,
and expanding, because that's what Mitch McConnell said, is that's why we're there, is good old American interest.
And it's our number one priority,
that's
as
more
he
with
said.
More on the BlackRock thing. We'll get to that in a little bit.
But why would I be concerned? It's because, eventually, like we don't, trying to find like another analogy to put this up again. It's been a long time since we did anything to this. We haven't done anything like this to this scale at this point. Last time we did something of this scale, we went into world wars. That's how that worked, right?
World War III, it would be your concern.
It would be, that would be a concern there because I don't necessarily trust the Ukrainians to be like, all right, we're all done now. Because they're a fucking hard ass people, bro, and they've been getting there's a lot of blood on that side. They just fucking bombed, missiled another goddamn apartment complex.
Right.
They're not going to stop wanting to fight. And whether or not they think they can overextend and continue to fight, they're already like, we're going to
Russia, you mean?
Yeah, or trying to reclaim Crimea as the more realistic scenario, right? That's not going to stop in their minds until they're all expended. They will go to the last man, I think. That's their viewpoint at this point, and they're justifiably so. I can understand that. Like, that's why I don't necessarily like, they want to fucking fight this thing, fight it out. I don't care, but we need to be very, very, very careful about our chips in this fucking game, because at some point we're pot committed, we're chip committed at this point,
right?
And then it inevitably ends with fucking boots on the ground, because we got to go in there and handle some shit, because we're already too invested in this. The narrative is already put out there. The American people will turn against us if we just back out and let fucking Ukraine get slaughtered. That's why, like, this was never a good idea to begin with.
Let me ask you this: so for a world war to happen, we need to have some teams drawn up, right? And we have teams drawn up, so as far as like money and funding, right? Mm-hmm. But a world war, as far as we've seen in the past, mm-hmm. involves like active fighting from more than one nation on either side.
Yes.
Right? So to me, a world war would mean, like you're talking about, as far as an Axis and Allies type of thing, that we are fighting on the ground.
I got that board game, by the way.
That we are fighting on the ground, United States with Ukraine, along with whatever European nations,
yeah.
right? And then on the other side would be, Russia and China and whoever. So do you think it's possible that another nation enters, not just with financial backing, but with actual military power on the ground? Because you could argue that's what we're doing by sending like legit tanks and shit like that. Yeah. Because, I don't know. I'd be concerned that with all the equipment that we're sending, especially tanks and whatnot, that there isn't going to be it's only Ukrainians operating all this shit. Like, I feel like you're not going to send any English, tank engineers over there to do any of that shit. You're just going to hand them over to Ukrainians and let them do what they're going to do. It seems more likely that you would send British tank squadrons there, but that's a fucking dangerous game to play.
Yeah, they're not going to do that now. They would be like, all right, we need troops over in Oklahoma. We need troops over in fucking, someplace in England where there's tank crossing signs and shit like that. We're going to train your troops over there, because once you're going to learn on this platform, because we're going to send you this platform and you need to know how to operate it.
Yeah.
So you go to a few weeks of school, you learn how to do this shit, you learn how to shoot with it, you do the whole 9 yards. You go back. People in the West, specifically these days, Western militaries are incredibly proficient in training new weapons platforms,
right?
To training new tech platforms. The only major barrier here is like the language barrier, which can be it could be pretty easy to get around that through translators and shit, right? But that's all they got to do, and it's not that big a deal. Then it's just whether now it's obviously happened, but it was up to whether or not the West wanted to step it up another notch.
Yeah.
Do we want to? First, it was like, we'll send you defensive aid during like Trump era stuff, or Obama time.
Go without actually sending dudes, Like how much more shit is there to send over there without sending dudes?
Like, it would. Read that while I think about that, because I don't know.
The Ukraine government is one of the most corrupt in the world, and their soldiers have put out videos threatening Zelensky himself. They're completely demoralized and fed up fighting a losing battle. Interesting.
That's insinuating
that they're losing.
Well, I would say the only reason Ukraine could be losing is just sheer manpower, right?
Because the Russians are fucking committed to what they're doing.
The Russians,
especially if you're talking about
whether
fighting,
they're committed or not.
At this point, you're not just talking about the Russian military. You're talking about a fuckload of military contractors. If you're fighting the Wagner Group, those dudes are committed. Those dudes want to fucking kill you, not just because you're Ukrainian, because that's their fucking job, and they're getting paid really, really well to do that. And that's their whole entire life is murder.
Yes.
They're taking back, they're saying they're taking back whatever the fucking with the salt mines and all that type of shit. Like, They're taking back huge swaths, or taking huge parts of Ukraine, they're saying. So it's not just Russian military. It's not like you're just fighting conscripts now. Like I said, you're talking
Some of them
about
are.
Wagner Group and like PMCs that are committed to what they're doing, not just have been stolen from their houses and threatened into fighting.
Yeah, and even above and beyond all of that, right? When you look historically at Russian large-scale warfare, there's something different about the Russian people, right? When you're fighting Russia, like ask Napoleon, ask fucking the Kaiser, ask fucking Hitler, ask the Japanese. The Sino-Japanese, or
They're
no,
on some
what is
wild
that?
shit.
It's, you ever watch Futurama?
Yeah.
There's that Zap Brannigan line. Tim fucking brings it up all the time. We'll send wave after wave of our own men just into the maw until we overwhelm you.
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's what
Right.
they've always done. They've always generally been technologically inferior to the enemy, but they always fucking win, and they always have the elements on their side. It's Roman times again. There's fighting
Right.
seasons now, because when it's minus fucking 30 in Ukraine and Russia like that, you can't fucking fight there, bro. I don't care what kind of technology you have
just
these
too
days.
cold.
It's just, you can't do that. People will die from exposure more than on the battlefield. So they got a lot of things going for them. I don't know. They could be winning. Russia could be winning at this point just because they have the numbers if they want.
They're taking some
You can
ground
print
and they're murdering a lot
Kalashnikovs
of
in
people.
fucking 5 minutes. It's done. It's over. Not to mention you can bring in the Iranians. You can bring in fucking tech from China. You can bring in, I don't know if you bring personnel in China, right? So this, to get back to the original point of like,
Can you imagine seeing
what
some
I worry
videos
about?
that, like, had Asian people over there fighting? Wouldn't that be fucking insane?
yeah. And I know, have you seen the videos of like China and India fighting along their borders
Yes.
with like sticks and shit like that?
Yes.
There's a specific reason why they're
Right,
doing that.
right.
That is not a joke.
I don't remember what I was watching, and they were
Yes.
talking about, like, it was fucking Crowder, and they
It
were
was.
talking about how terrible those
fucking
militaries
blah, blah, blah,
were.
blah.
And we're like, this keeps it from being like legitimate warfare. Like,
Yes.
you obviously don't know what you're
This
talking
is
about.
gangs,
or-
man, fighting with fucking,
Right.
you know.
They're fighting over water rights. Like,
Yes.
they're on some wild fucking primal shit. Yeah. That's
And the
why they're
whole
using
deal is,
sticks and
okay, we're
rocks.
going to go fight and try to kill these people with our hands, because the minute we start shooting at motherfuckers, that's a whole other ball game.
Yeah.
But if we all just get in some tussles, try to beat the shit out of each other with body armor, then whatever, you know,
Yeah.
we'll move forward. It's a thing, right? But
So
the
boots on
real
the ground from other countries. Yeah.
the real concern I would have is not necessarily what's going to happen to the nations involved in this conflict, because this is it's a global proxy war at this point, right? This is
Yeah.
World War proxy. This is what we're doing. What I'm really concerned about is not necessarily the nations that would sign up for the Axis and the Allies, right? It's going to be the nation or two that doesn't and gets to essentially rise in power as everybody else's power diminishes through consumption and exposure. As we throw more weapons into this thing, you hear it from that fucking Navy Vice Admiral, we're losing the ability to resupply our own troops. We also have our own problems within the military because of fucking woke ass shit and all this stuff. But the West is going to start to lower their supplies and their ability to actually wage war themselves, right? Yes, we always have increasing military budgets and all this stuff, but
Right.
realistically, we're always just ready to fight. And so when we start dropping all of our supply like that and just mainlining that shit into fucking Eastern Europe, we're not replenishing them at the same rate.
Right.
Raytheon, Boeing, they all have they know how to maintain the status quo on weaponry. This isn't fucking World War II. We're not converting steel factories into tank shops, you know. It's not happening right now. So we're not printing fucking weapons like we should be.
Those companies are just restarting
Yes.
their
And
processes of
And
manufacturing.
if China and India and Iran are slowly giving money or supplies and stuff to Russia, they're doing it at an exponentially smaller rate, and they're doing it together. And they're not going to diminish themselves as bad as the rest of the entire Western world. And even if they do, they have the authoritarian fucking, jackboot to just say, well, we're just going to keep making more fucking weapons. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep doing that. So my concern would be not overall necessarily like a global world war there's a possibility of nuclear war, which is, it's a possibility. I'd say that it's not a 0% chance that it's
Right.
going to happen. At this point, I'm not as concerned as I would have been a while back. But my concern would be like, at one point, we're going to fucking wake up and China's going to have control over damn near everything because they have more weapons and ships and soldiers and higher tech and airplanes that everybody else does because we
'Cause
gave
we're
them all the
fucking
fucking
around.
Ukraine to maintain
Yeah.
the status quo over there. But I don't know. I really don't know. It's
So you don't see
that
it
and
as-
the other side of the coin is we are just continuing to hamstring ourselves at home for this conflict, which at the end of the day, what's the best outcome we have here? We get some intel, we learn that Russia's a paper tiger and Ukraine gets to keep their sovereignty. That's cool, but what happens when you completely hamstring the entirety of Western power throughout the entire world? The outcome's a little different. Not to mention, keep doing all this shit, spend all this fucking money, inflation's going crazy, we got all these problems here at home. You need a strong homeland to be able to support some kind of crazy ass fucking boondoggle like this overseas. We ain't that, man. We're not there. And then if something really truly implodes here, what's to stop somebody from fucking taking our shirt?
So do you think this is about as far as we get into like a proper world war?
I would hope. I think there's a greater chance that, yeah, this is basically it. We just keep funding and sending more and more weapons and shit like that. And
30 years
you know,
from now, we'll say this was World War III, especially on a numbers basis.
yeah,
We just didn't
because
have
war is
multiple-
proxy now.
Right. We just didn't have multiple countries
yeah.
dying.
We
in
have
this
pawns
one.
to wage our wars. We don't even
Outside
move
of, like-
our back pieces.
Outside of like the Czechs and, you know, whoever the other random countries that Russia is wrapping into.
Yeah, fucking like, oh, what's
The
that one?
Chechens
The Chechnya. Yeah,
all
Chechnya.
all that shit.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this:
Mm.
do you have concern over another Vietnam scenario? And by that I mean we have, because there's been concern and reports and critique of those reports of the money that we're sending to Ukraine disappearing. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we have seen legitimate Nazis in operation in Ukraine in the form
Yeah.
of the Azov Battalion,
Yeah.
right? And Dave Smith, myself, have said very similar things of the people that we're giving money to now are the people that we will fight. I've said that. We've heard Dave Smith say something very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have fear of, because that's my biggest fear,
Yeah.
is the Vietnam scenario.
Creating the
is,
Viet Cong type
yes,
of thing.
that in 20 years we will be fighting people in Ukraine that either are overtaking their own government or, you know, whatever the fuck is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have fear for another Vietnam type scenario in Ukraine?
I'd say not directly in Ukraine. I'd say in the Ukrainian situation, considering the nature of the corruption that happens in Ukraine, I would be more concerned with like, just for example, let's say Russia can't withstand this, become like a failed state, and they turn into some kind of crazy ass republic of all these little fucking more Eastern
Again?
European states. Yeah,
USSR 2.0?
something like that. Yeah, except it's just Russia this time, because Russia is very, very diverse, ethnically, culturally.
URR,
Yeah,
United Russian Republic.
something like that, right? I could see that becoming a different thing, like a problem, and then us having to fight wars in those types of states with weapons and equipment that we originally gave Ukraine, who was then sold on. It'd be like a third-party thing.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think we'd ever. I don't.
Ukraine sells their weapons to groups trying to fight for their own freedom in
Yes.
these new Russian
Yeah,
republics.
one man's terrorist, another
Okay.
man's freedom fighter.
Right,
So
right.
I don't necessarily see us fighting Ukraine after this. At this point, we're gonna fucking own Ukraine, and after we start talking about BlackRock and stuff like
You
that,
think
I think.
so?
I mean, unless there's some kind of crazy ass regime change.
I mean,
yeah,
Halliburton rebuild in the Middle East, and we're still fighting over there. We
I-
own everything over there.
Ukraine is not the Middle East. If you were aired before the war started, right? This is something that I forget who this conversation was between, right? But if you were to be like, before all the war and stuff, you were airdropped from America into somewhere in like urban Ukraine, could you be convinced that you were in the West?
Yes.
Like, it's not the Middle East. That is a totally different situation, right? It does
Okay.
not work the same. Culturally, very, very, very different. There's other reasons why that couldn't happen in there. You're not going to bring democracy to fucking Afghanistan. Just not going to happen. You're they already have democracy in Ukraine, right? Might be corrupt as fuck, but it's only a few degrees different than us. It's just a
Yeah.
different type of corruption. But at that point, I mean, there's still like capitalism is a thing over there. It might be kind of crony and whatever, but I mean, it'd be a much easier situation for us to. I mean, fucking Zelensky is our president. We installed the regime that got him elected.
Right.
Ever
Okay.
since the revolution or the coup in what was that 14?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we fucking own them anyways. They're NATO in any other name but at that point.
Okay.
So like I think that's one aspect to think about at least anyways.
So there would have to be some type of government overthrow in Ukraine for us to be
We would know
fighting
about
in
it.
Ukraine.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz we fucking own them at this point, bro. The only reason you guys are alive today is because of us.
Yeah.
Period. And it's not because of the West. It's not because of NATO. It might eventually look that way because they're all kind of starting to get in the fucking game
I
now.
wonder if the globalist influence could be a point of contention for, members of, the Ukrainian military. Like, they're all obviously happy that they received the assistance they did because they wouldn't exist if they hadn't received Western assistance. But now that we are going to see global corporate interests come in and rebuild their country and buy and sell their debt over and over again,
And we'll see.
I wonder if they'll be like, well, this was all well and good, but now that
Now we see what you're
nothing-
doing to us.
nothing that we own is worth anything, and
Yeah.
you've raped and pillaged our country, we
Yeah,
would
the-
like these influences out of our country. I wonder if
The
that
tides
could be a
might
point of
turn.
contention.
I think that's a very good point to bring up because that fucking happens,
Because
man.
that's, and I mean, not to fucking beat a dead horse, but that's like was part of the seeding issue in Vietnam is the different classes of people that wanted to stay involved with France and that wanted to be independent,
Yeah.
And if we're, like you said, if we're going to own Ukraine after this, because in effect we will, there are going to be the people in Ukraine that want actual legitimate independence and
Really?
not
Yeah.
independence under the guise of American and Western control,
I mean, I would say though it is much harder today, just due to modern technology and instant communications, and the fucking Ukrainians have fucking cameras on their phones just like everybody else does. How do we get all this frontline footage otherwise? It'd be much easier to. It'd be much easier to sense dissent. It would be much easier for people to. I don't know how I want to put this. I think it just changes the game so much more as compared to like in the 1950s and 60s. When you're talking Chiang Kai-shek and, the entirety of fuckery around China and Vietnam, that whole area during like pre-World War II, that just led up to fucking Vietnam, all that shit.
Yeah.
It's just a very different, it's a different world and kind these days than it was back then. If there was a bunch of fuckery going on, if there was a bunch of dissent going on, there would be protests in the streets, not just, and then it would be on fucking Twitter. It would be on fucking WhatsApp. It'd be shared all around the world. And, the government would, at that point, would have to respond at that point. They couldn't just jackboot down because then America's going to come in and fucking regime change again.
Right.
It's a different world and kind than it was back then. So as many similarities as you can draw, the outcomes aren't going to be the same, So I don't know. It's a big fucking question mark all around.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, man. World War III is going on now, but it's not exactly the same World War that we would have expected it to be.
Just doesn't look like World War II did.
Yeah, it's World War III by proxy.
It's more the beginning stages of World War II than the ending stages.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
And we've only been doing this for a year.
Yeah, my fear is that we will look more like the ending stages. Like I said, that we'll be there for a long enough time that eventually Ukraine will say, we just don't even have enough dudes. Like we just can't fight anymore because we don't have enough guys to fight, but we still have to fight.
And that'll be what the world does at that point will be the difference maker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my
But
concern.
If we, and I hate to sound as callous as this, but I mean, if Ukraine was essentially a part of Russia at that point, we wouldn't be having that conversation. For, on the on the scales, would it be better to go to World War III eventually, or would it be better for Ukraine to deal with Russia? I don't know. I mean, I get it.
And allow Russia to expand its territory into another nation.
I mean, when you really think about it, there's one nation left to be absorbed by somebody. Everybody else is in fucking NATO at this point. And they're not going to go up against NATO because that is open fucking World War III warfare, and they get their dick stomped. That's what happens. I mean, Turkey flips, obviously, at that point, but that's fine. That's not a big deal. The war in Europe is over at that point. Russia's fucking dead. Putin's dead. We know, generally speaking, he's a dead man once that starts. And then whoever replaces him, they're not going to exactly want to be doing that same thing.
Yeah.
So I don't see that working out that way. But when you put it on balance, there's one unclaimed territory at this point, and it's Ukraine. Would it be the worst thing in the long-term story of humanity for Ukraine to be more or less in the realm of influence of Russia compared to the West? I think those scales balance out pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and advocate for that because the sovereignty of national borders and all this stuff. I mean, I get it. I get it, man.
But if it comes down to sending American soldiers or letting Ukraine return to Russian control,
what are we fucking talking about here? Like, I get it, man.
Yeah.
But, in the giant book of history, would that, there's two fucking alternatives here. Why? But also, we'll say, the American Revolution was a losing war until France got involved.
Yeah.
And that was worth it in the end. So who am I to say? But I don't know. I'm just especially with as many fucking problems we have back here. This is not helping us in the long term.
No.
It's helping the liberal economic order, the liberal world order, whatever you call that. It's helping that.
The World Economic Forum.
Well,
It's helping all of those things.
It's helping that, but
the globalist elite.
But it's not helping us. And if you're like an America First guy, of course you're going to be anti-Ukrainian intervention like that because we're doing. It's kind of like equity when you think about it, right? If somebody in the genuine equity model, it's that fucking three people standing looking over a fence thing. You seen that meme, right?
Yeah.
The short guy, the medium guy, the tall guy. We're the tall guy. At this point, if you want to fucking go across the board like this, eventually we get our fucking shins blown off and we get down to level with everyone else. Whether that works out better for the globe or the one world government or whatever, the liberal world order, that's one thing. But whether it helps America out, I think it's pretty straightforward. It doesn't help us out.
Yeah.
All it does is bring us down. It helps out everybody else. So that's the real question. The longer we help out Ukraine in the manner we're helping them out, all we're doing is hamstringing ourselves more and more and more and more. And that fight to maintain America First or the top dog spot, the only reason you could be America First is because the neocons paved the way for you to be the fucking superpower of the world. So don't forget that. Unfortunately, that is a reality. But if you want to maintain that, you do have to be smart about it. And this is not smart.
Yeah.
This is not a smart thing to do. All we're doing is hamstringing ourselves. Boom. Some fucking think tank hire me, for God's sakes. Come on now. I feel like I went on there for a minute. I hope I wasn't.
No, that was perfect. So let's
crazy.
talk for a minute about, we're talking about BlackRock, right? So let's talk about.
You're going to talk about BlackRock. I'm going to listen.
The rebuilding. So.
Because I got to pee.
Oh, Jesus. Of course you do.
Yeah.
Well, let's see
me and
here.
my girlish bladder.
I got to find my article here. I didn't realize.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, I wasn't ready. Way to go.
Damn.
No, you're fine. So, sorry, guys. I'm just trying to find. There it is. New York Post article. I'm going to send it to Colin so that he can pull it up when we get back here. But what we're going to be talking about is that BlackRock, the company who had such an enormous hand in pandemic era home buying, has signed on with Volodymyr Zelensky to help them decipher who will be paying for the reconstruction there. So, excuse me, we'll read some of this article. It is entitled, Volodymyr Zelensky, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink agreed to help rebuild Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and BlackRock CEO Larry Fink agreed to work together on investments aimed at rebuilding the war-torn country after Russian invasion, Ukraine's government said Wednesday. The agreement followed a video meeting between Zelensky and Fink. BlackRock has taken an advisory role on how Ukraine should handle investments related to reconstruction. Volodymyr Zelensky and Larry Fink agreed to focus in the near term to coordinating the efforts of all potential investors and participants in the reconstruction of our country, channeling investment into the most relevant and impactful sectors of the Ukrainian economy, the Ukrainian government said on its website. During the conversation, it was emphasized that certain BlackRock leaders plan to visit Ukraine in the new year. The Post has reached out to BlackRock for comment. The firm is the world's largest asset manager at $10 trillion in holdings. Zelensky has confirmed that Ukraine will participate in the World Economic Forum in Davos next month.
Right now.
Right now. So what that means is not only is Zelensky working with BlackRock, he's also going to the World Economic Forum so that he can pitch to other people there to help invest
I need more
in
money.
the rebuild in Ukraine.
Yes.
Presumably, people BlackRock has told him to meet with.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, I think.
Last month, BlackRock announced that it agreed to a memorandum of understanding with Ukraine's Ministry of Economy. The November 10th agreement included plans for establishing a roadmap for the investment framework's implementation, including identifying design choices for the envisioned setup, structure, mandate, and governance.
Of course, you need your governance factor.
BlackRock will also, quote, provide advisory support for designing an investment framework with the goal of creating opportunities for both public and private investors to participate in the future reconstruction and recovery of the Ukrainian economy. Ukraine's economic toll remains unclear after Russian President Vladimir Putin sent in his forces in February. Estimates from the World Bank and European Commission said the cost of rebuilding could approach $349 billion, according to Financial Times.
Jeez.
The agreement between BlackRock and Ukraine emerged days after Zelensky traveled to Washington for a meeting with President Biden. The Ukrainian president also delivered a speech to Congress during further collaboration and support for the country's war effort.
Congress approved an additional $45 billion in aid for Ukraine last week.
Yes. So what this means is that BlackRock will be having, again, a hand in deciding who will and will not be investing in Ukraine's rebuilding.
Now, is BlackRock essentially the same thing as Halliburton, or is Halliburton more of a actual contractor?
I think Halliburton is an actual contractor.
So we're a step above at this point.
BlackRock is an investment firm that has its hands in contracting.
Everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
in everything, right? So, and I mentioned this earlier, right? BlackRock is the same company that was so prolific in pandemic era home buying, that was pricing people out of their
Yes.
homes, buying things for cash straight out, over asking price, right? So they've helped inflate the housing price market, or the housing prices in the market.
Yep.
They've then taken that money because they made a shitload of money during that time. They are now investing it, right? Also, sorry, I should restart this. They've taken this money along with their other investments in enormous defense companies like Raytheon, right? So they've made money in the beginning of the war investing in Raytheon, who is selling weapons and technology to Ukraine. They're now going to profit from the rebuilding of Ukraine that was destroyed with the weapons that they sold to Ukraine. They're double rat fucking us.
Yeah.
They're double rat fucking them. All of us at the same time. They're using your tax dollars to make money so they can resell them, just recycle them in Ukraine and put them back in their own pocket.
Yeah. It's essentially this. It's a version of the same story that the U.S. government has been doing as well. Like, a lot of the money that goes to Ukraine for military aid, essentially, like, at least half of it goes straight to Raytheon, essentially, and Boeing to build the weapons to send them to, the ones they're going to buy over there. So it all kind of works out in the wash that way. Except, like, I keep trying to bring up, like, parallels between what BlackRock is going to be doing and what Halliburton did. This just seems way worse. It's a similar story, but it's at an exponentially larger field. I mean, it's everything involved, not just the actual rebuilding.
From beginning to end.
Yeah.
It's not just connections.
It's farm to table, bro.
Yes.
Farm to table.
Yeah.
That's not,
It's farm to table double rat fuck. That's precisely what this is.
at least all the companies that'll be going over there will have high ESG scores.
Yeah. That's nice. At
You
least
get a
they're
lot of
woke.
good governance factor for that one, or social factor for that one.
Yeah.
That's I don't really know what to make of this, because when you think about like a war-torn country like that, like fucking BlackRock's not trying to sign up to rebuild fucking Yemen, or
Nope.
yeah, right? In the Yemenis conflict, they're not trying to rebuild Yemen. That sounds really weird right now? It's Yemen.
Yeah.
Yemen. I don't know why that sounds strange.
Yemen.
But yeah, it's strange that this is the conflict. Maybe because there's so much more dollars at play here, and it's a more westernized nation. But you got to think about the amount of money that is going to be essentially thrown away, or I don't want to say like embezzled, but I mean like essentially it'll be legal embezzlement at that point.
It says in this article, they're not only helping decide who's going to invest the money, right? They're also going to provide advisory support for designing an investment framework with the goal of creating opportunities for both public and private investors, right? And on top of that, the agreement included plans for establishing a roadmap for the investment framework's implementation, including identifying design choices for the envisioned setup, structure, and mandate, and governance.
Yeah.
So it's not just the infrastructure.
No, it's
right?
everything.
You're talking about the entire way their country is going to function moving forward.
So
I would bet, I'm putting it down right now, a member of the BlackRock board is going to be serving in the Ukrainian government.
I guarantee
In
it.
10 years' time. 10 years' time, somebody who's serving on the BlackRock board right now will be working in the Ukrainian government. Bet.
Yeah.
10 years' time.
For sure. And I will say, probably right off the bat, what this will immediately equate to is all the companies that will get the BlackRock approval to do the work, because BlackRock is going to be the bank, right? That's what's happening.
The investment
They're going to
firm,
be
yeah.
They're going to be the one handing out all the money and then telling you what to do with the money. And while we're at that, all you big giant construction companies, we need people to be on your boards.
Yeah.
Here's who needs to be on your boards, and this is how this is all going to work.
Well, and them being over there signals already to everybody domestically and around the globe. Any construction companies or contractors that we are involved with are likely to get these contracts, so it's probably a good time to get in now and start investing so you can make money when they come over here and rebuild all this shit.
Yep. Not financial advice, but
Yep.
it
But
seems
this
like
is
a
what we're
good bet.
doing. Everyone around the globe can see it. So any construction companies that Larry Fink or any of these BlackRock motherfuckers are invested in are likely to see a huge uptick when they get given the contract, just like fucking Halliburton. All the contractors there, Halliburton gets contract, Halliburton gets contract, Halliburton gets contract. Isn't that incredible?
Imagine
they just
that.
happen to have the best bid. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure they didn't know exactly what it would cost or what their bid should be or anything like that, you know?
So here's a question for it.
Yep.
Considering this is going to happen,
Oh, yeah. It's happening
It's
right
happening,
now. It's already
right?
happening. World Economic Forum is this week.
how much more power is BlackRock going to have after this? Because they're going to make a shit ton of money over there. A fuckload of money. And unfortunately, maybe fortunately, that's not, well, at this point, it might be US dollars,
I
but
think that they'll come back and double down in the markets that are already profiting for them, and they'll probably buy more houses. They'll probably come back and continue to rat fuck us.
more businesses,
and
more real
continue
estate.
to price people out of the market at home as well as around the globe. Now, we're going to make money
turn
around
around
the
and
globe,
start-
reinvest it domestically to continue to price you out. We got a really nice apartment building for you.
So what do you do about this situation?
You buy a house. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't-
like fucking Demolition Man, the movie, Sandra Bullock and fucking, what's his name? Rocky.
Stallone.
Instead of everything being Taco Bell, everything's BlackRock. That sounds terrible.
BlackRock, Amazon.
Let's
There's gonna be a few
break them up.
companies.
Break them up. Where's Elizabeth Warren here? Where's Elizabeth Warren at?
Oh,
Come on, man. Break it up.
She's probably invested in BlackRock.
Of course she is. Of course she is.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
So it's really nice. Yeah.
Another reason why we're not going to get out of this situation. There's too many people making too much fucking money into it.
Yeah. They're
Too
gonna
many large
continue to
institutions.
take away the avenues that regular blue collar people have to create actual tangible wealth in
Yeah.
this country.
And in the meantime, inflation is still skyrocketing, which they have to leave out food now, of course. They keep leaving out food and energy, right, in the CPI reports that
Yeah.
just keep coming out to talk about inflation. And it's like, oh, yeah, we only went up 0.01 or whatever, 0.03. Well, yeah, because have you been to the grocery store?
Yeah.
That's what people spend their fucking money on. That's where inflation really kicks everybody ass. It's in the gas you put in your fucking car to get to work, and it's in the food you have to buy to feed your fucking family.
Yeah.
That's where it really hurts. All the consumer goods, we can all fucking tighten our belts on that. No fucking problem. But the essential goods that you insist cannot be in the CPI because it's too volatile, that's the shit we have to pay for every goddamn day.
Right.
And that's
And they
this
talk
type of shit.
about-
It only gets fucking worse.
Right. They talk about like eggs as a good example. They're like, well, it's other factors, the avian flu and the fucking whatever. Like, yeah, if had inflation not been impacting us like this, then we as American people would be able to stomach that cost. It would be
Yeah.
fine because shit happens. Sicknesses happen. We're like, shortage on eggs because they're all fucking dying.
Yep.
There are not enough chickens to make eggs. But instead, the cost is inflated already through inflation, and then the supply is limited because of this avian flu thing. So
And
the
also
price
the
goes
supplies-
from what it should be $3 on through the increased price to fucking $7, $8, $9.
If you can get them.
Yes,
Went to fucking Costco the other day. No eggs in the entire fucking store.
really?
Not even the big bulk case eggs. Not you can have hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah.
You could buy hard-boiled eggs. There was one little case of that.
At Costco or at Winco, they're not selling the big cases anymore. You can
Yeah.
only buy a dozen or 18 at a time. They're not doing because we fucking eat so many eggs. I would just
Yeah.
buy 5 dozen eggs at a
Oh,
time
yeah.
because we're crushing them.
Americans eat a lot of fucking eggs
Yes.
because it's an excellent source of protein and it's very cheap. And another point to remember on fucking eggs, right? Because it's just a
Eggs are fire.
it's just a point of it's an anecdotal point in the overall inflation scheme and the general downfall of America economically. What happened to all the chickens during the pandemic?
They
had
killed
to,
them.
They have fucking had to nuke a bunch of them.
Right.
So
Same with
we're
the
already
pigs, all
way
the milk,
behind
just
at this
dumping
point.
it.
Yes, we're already fucking way behind because the government's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's
and
some
then,
weird New Deal style shit. where
Yes.
they're like, no, we need to cap the price. You need to just be dumping that milk.
That's right.
That's some
Goodbye.
weird New Deal shit. Yeah.
Yeah, there's people starving. But we got to dump this shit because we're capping the price on this shit.
Can't have it too low.
Yeah. And then the flu comes around, the avian fucking flu, and it kills a bunch of the new crop of fucking birds. You know, newsflash. It takes time for a chick to grow up and become an adult bird and then start laying fucking eggs. And when you fuck up the whole system, you don't have fucking eggs at Costco. Why? And then when you can find eggs, they're fucking $12 a pack.
I would
insane.
rather, and you guys know how anti-government we are, but I would rather the American people get a retarded deal on milk and eggs, and the United States government subsidize the farmers because their costs, like because they're not making enough money, than to dump fucking milk out and just kill animals senselessly because they need to keep the cost where they're at.
Yeah.
Just give me a whole chicken for $1 and give the farmers what they're not making because that will save you money and fucking lives from you just culling thousands and thousands of fucking animals because you need to keep the cost at a certain point.
Have you done much looking into like big agro and the USDA's involvement in regulation and all this shit? How it
No,
all kind of
I've
works and
just-
farmers and
I've started to they're doing a lot of that in
Okay.
this FDR book when
'Cause I'm
they're
gonna
talking
say-
about regulating the prices for farmers and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I was like, what you're talking about right now is like, well, that's going on now. But it is getting so much worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like most of the farms we have in America produce like fucking corn and soy.
Right.
You know, whereas
Right,
if
right.
and it's all subsidized by the fucking government.
Yeah.
They all get fucking paid because of that.
And I'm
it's
talking
all
about-
fucked
I'm
up. But
talking
I
about
get what you're
milk,
saying. Yeah.
eggs, things that like other
Yeah,
shit
yeah, yeah.
that they're making. I would rather those items
Yeah.
be cheap as fuck for us, and the farmers get subsidized out so they can still make
Exactly.
their nut.
And then we can have real fucking food to eat.
Yeah, then for us to be just culling shit and wasting things,
Yeah.
like, that doesn't make any sense. I would rather dump a gallon of milk out of my house than you to dump thousands of gallons out of the farm.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I would rather do that. Be like, I have too
Yeah.
much milk right now. I got to dump this fucking gallon because it went bad.
Yep.
Rather than you dumping thousands out before it even gets to the market. Like,
Exactly. And if you got me in your house, that milk's never going to go bad. It'll just be gone. Because I still, to this day, can just pound fucking milk, dude.
yeah. If I'm hitting desserts,
I love it.
I'm going to drink a lot of milk. Like, if I'm on a
Ooh,
dessert
yeah,
kick,
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to always drink milk.
Is that a problem in your household, considering what your wife does?
It depends on how busy she is. Like,
Yeah.
and there's a real kind of a fine line because if she's real busy, especially with cakes, there's a lot of cake scraps. You know,
That's
there's
a
a lot of
problem.
cake scraps
That's a
that's sitting
problem.
around in a bag.
Then you
And
get cake
so-
bowls?
So she's also has the buttercream, yeah. And I'm pretty particular now. Like, I won't just eat it because it's there, because that's so consistent. If she's making a cake of flavors and stuff that I like, I'm like, I'm definitely going to eat that. I'm a huge sucker for cream cheese icing, enormous sucker for cream cheese frosting. Can't get enough of it. So if she's making any type of like red velvet or spice cake or carrot cake, I'm gonna definitely have a scrappy bowl because
Scrappy bowl. That's what it's called, Scrappy bowl.
because the cream cheese frosting, I cannot get enough of it.
That's so stupid.
So
So
that
good.
type of thing. Cookies. If she's making cookies, there's always too many, you know. So I'm always eating cookies.
Yep.
So that's a thing. If she fucks up a cake,
Hot take. I don't like red velvet. I think it's highly overrated.
it is overrated because it's chocolate. It's
Yeah.
there isn't a difference. It's only more difficult to make.
Yeah.
It's just more complicated. There's more steps to
That's
it.
it. But it's a chocolate cake.
Yeah, there is functionally no difference. It is dyed. It's more complicated. There's different ingredients in there, but the flavor is the same. It just always has cream cheese frosting on it.
Always.
So
Which is, that's a thing.
it
but
is. It's overrated.
But fuck a red velvet, bro.
It's
I'm not
overrated.
into it.
Yeah.
Not fucking into it. I'll take the fucking butter or the cream cheese frosting on anything else. I don't care. Just
Yes.
when I was living in Long Island, it was a massive, massive fad. Everything had to be fucking red velvet.
People love it.
Like I don't want that fucking. I
'Cause
don't
they
know.
want
it, man.
They don't know.
Come
They don't
on.
know the truth that it's just
No,
chocolate. It's not.
exactly.
There is no difference. They just think
Yeah.
it's
How
fucking
many of those?
bougie.
I had to fucking hate bake
Oh, I
red fucking
bet.
velvet. I want a fucking red velvet cake,
Yeah.
man. Oh, fine. I'll make you a fucking red velvet, bitch.
Every time Jordan makes one, she's like, "I fucking hate making red velvet cake."
Dude,
I know.
yes.
I know it.
I feel you.
know.
I feel you, girl. I feel you.
They're always super moist though, which I really appreciate. Like a red velvet cake is always fucking super moist and dense.
Well, it's very dense.
Yeah.
If it's made well, it's moist. If it's
Jordan
not
doesn't-
made well,
Jordan doesn't make dry
yeah,
cakes.
yeah.
so-
So you have a inflated perception of quality on baked goods.
I'm definitely spoiled
because
Yeah.
your wife is fucking fire in the oven like that. But I've
I'm
had
at
a
the-
lot of shitty red velvet in my life. People think it's awesome, and you're like, that was terrible. It just tasted like fucking bread.
I'm at the point now I can parse out a boxed cake pretty easily. You know, eating one, I'm like, that was not a homemade. Like that was a boxed cake, or
Yeah,
like
palate's very refined.
Yeah, frosting for sure. I'm like, that's not home. That's out of a can. You
Yeah.
know, whether or not something was done correctly, I'm like, yeah, this is crumbly, this is dry, like, or this buttercream, like it's split a little bit, like all that shit. Yeah, I'm like, this is not as good. Like this could have.
Oh, there's
No,
a fucking.
I've been trained well.
Yeah, there's a taste buds show in the future at that point.
I'm dreaming of the day that I get to quit my job and work as a cake assistant part time and then do show part time. That's I can't wait. I'm dreaming for
Yeah,
that
right.
life. That's where I need to be.
Yeah, at that point, it's good that you don't have a day job because you're gonna have to live at the gym.
My kids and I are prepared for me. We're ready for me to be a stay-at-home dad. I hear every day, I don't want you to go to work tomorrow. I don't want you to go to work tomorrow.
Oh,
You know what? I also don't want to go to work tomorrow. Every time they come into work, Dax says, "Daddy, are you going to come home with us?" I'm like, I fucking wish that I could. It
I
is
could,
11
bud.
o'clock. I'll be here for 5.5 more hours.
Oh, buddy,
Yeah. Nope,
heartbreaking.
They're ready. We're
Yeah.
all ready.
We're all ready.
Yeah, we're ready for Jordan's cake business to blow the fuck up so I can be like, sorry, Tim and Dan, I am done here.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I'll see you around,
Yes.
obviously, but I gotta go.
See ya.
Blue.
Yeah, no, I mean, even once she gets the kitchen set up in the downstairs, my hours are going to be way different. You know?
Oh, yeah,
I'll
yeah,
be
yeah.
working probably nights and stuff like that for part of the time and whatnot because she's going to need to bake during the day. So
Yeah.
be home days and we're still doing it. I will definitely get 40 hours in, but it's going to happen.
It might.
A lot of
random
chunks.
hours.
Yeah, real chunked up pieces of like,
You'll be coming in the morning, and I'll be checking out in the morning.
right. I'll be out of here at 11, and then I'll be back about 2 days from now. Yeah. No,
Oh, my God.
I'm ready for that. I'm excited to count hours.
So, as a beautiful segue,
We're just talking about our fucking lives over here.
well, yeah, that's what we do, baby. To segue, we talked a lot about BlackRock and World Economic Forum, right? World Economic Forum is going on right now.
Right now.
Um,
Okay.
International stories. I mean, you want to talk about working WEF a little bit?
Let's do it.
Because I have a video here that is very
We'll check the
disturbing.
Seahawks score.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Again, thank you for reminding me. So this was one of the videos that came out pre
Excuse me.
this session of the World Economic Forum. First time since COVID at this point that they have done the standardized WEF schedule and have the meeting in January. Something that the Finland? I might have that article pulled up, but a number of active duty troops have been called up to run security in Davos
Yes.
this week.
Sweden, I think.
Sweden, Finland, Sweden, Norway,
I
who
don't
knows?
know.
We'll find out. So anyways, watch this video.
Sufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The
Who made this video?
COVID-19
World Economic Forum. This is the kind of this is like the preview to lay the groundwork out for some of the things they're going to talk about during this session of the WEF. You can remember right before COVID, it was all the "you will own nothing and be happy" type of thing.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the new preview for this session of the World Economic Forum.
crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
So this is the preview for World Economic Forum 2023. They're talking about before this. You got to remember,
What the fuck?
you don't watch enough WEF material, bro. Okay,
fuck
this
is
is standard
wrong with
operating
them?
procedure. So they're going to be focusing a lot of their conversations this session around strengthening the world economic bloc into fighting against major cyber attacks that will take down the entire Western world. And so they make this fucking terrifying propaganda
What the
to
fuck?
watch, so that we're setting the table for everybody to start watching all this shit. Because these are the things we're going to be talking around.
It's going to be so bad that COVID-19 is going to look like a blip on the radar, he says.
Yes, and this was this right before fucking COVID-19 popped off. They were talking about global pandemics and shit. So whether he's incredibly prophetic or
Well,
you
that's
make
nice.
mountains out of molehills or whatever the fuck, coincidence or not, that's how we set the table
this
at this
guy.
year's fucking World Economic
What the
Forum.
fuck?
So this year, though, just one of the
As
G7
regular
leaders.
people battle cost of living crisis.
Yes.
That's really funny.
Yeah, so just one of the G7 leaders will be joining Davos Elite this year as regular people battle cost of living crisis. Germany's Olaf Scholz.
That's a beautiful city.
It's fantastic. Yes, it's in Switzerland. Switzerland, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah, Davos, Switzerland. But he's the only G7 leader to be attending this year's session. The new Prime Minister of Germany, the one that took over fucking Angela,
Yeah.
her spot. He's going to be the only major G7 leader there this year. The event will still be packed with some of the biggest names of the world's businesses and finance, politics, media, academia, and civil society. While they may cite busy schedules, former political advisor Ed Owen said they will also be wary of being seen hobnobbing with global financial elite amid the cost of living crisis. So a lot of people might have gotten the hint that it's probably not real good for you to be showing up at the fucking WF this year because shit's hitting the fan all over the world.
Because eggs are fucking $9 or whatever.
Because eggs are
Cardi B
$9.
is like lettuce is $7 a head or whatever the fuck she said.
Yeah, exactly.
You listen to that part of
It's so good, dude.
on what is it? Is the Wall Street Journal when he was Friday, I think, and he was whoever the host was reading part of the transcript from Cardi B's Instagram Live when he said the lettuce used to be like $2 and now the lettuce is like $7. I was like, that's so awesome.
It's so fucking great, man. It is so good.
We sent investigators and Cardi B was right.
Oh god.
Like she couldn't possibly do her own grocery shopping every once in a while, right? That's hilarious. How could she possibly know that? How maybe she goes to a fucking bodega and actually buys some shit to make it? I don't know.
I mean, well, she says, and if you listen to her full clip, she says that, you know, like most Americans, like I'd be looking at my fucking monthly financials and shit, and I'd be breaking down all this shit, and I see fucking cabbage or lettuce this month is $7, and it used to be fucking $2, and now I'm like, what the fuck? All these regular people got to be hurting too.
Yeah.
Like, if nothing else, Cardi B is a woman of the people.
I couldn't agree with that.
You know?
I mean, she used to steal money from dudes.
Yeah,
so.
she used to drug and fucking rob men. So
yeah,
I mean, if she's not a blue collar regular normie, she's got it is bad situation when Cardi B is more in touch with the everyday populace of America than any politician at all.
Well,
on the
New
Hill.
York famous is like a little bit different than regular famous because
You can still be gritty.
Still interact with a lot of people. You know.
Yeah.
I was watching fucking Tuesdays with Stories, and Mark Norman said that Timothy Chalamet goes to the same grocery store as him. Like he regularly sees Timothy Chalamet at the same grocery store. Timothy Chalamet is extremely fucking famous, and he's like, I'll just do my own grocery shopping.
Who's that?
Okay,
Sorry.
you definitely know who Chalamet is. You just don't know. He was in Dune. That he's like one of the main characters in Dune, like the young.
Okay.
He looks like a little kid almost.
He's the dude. He's the dude.
I've never seen Dune, so I don't know what character he plays.
Whoa.
Okay, do I have 2.5 hours to watch a fucking fantasy movie about another fucking planet?
I think it's closer to 3, but
Well, do I have 3 hours to watch a fantasy movie on another planet? No, I have 2.5 hours to watch a movie about the World War One. That's what I have.
this
And
is
it
an
took me 3
investment.
weeks to get there. So, and I don't give a fuck about Dune. If I cared, I don't have any investment.
Great
Like I've never
movie.
seen the original Dune, so I don't have
don't
any
need to.
reason to watch the next one. You know, this new one.
It's
So
really good.
point being, Chalamet is in Dune. Chalamet is crazy fucking famous for 2023. He was also in The Last King or whatever that was on Netflix, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's
guy.
him. That's
That guy.
Chalamet. So
That's Chalamet?
yeah, Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was
Okay.
also in The
Of course I
Last
don't remember
King,
that name.
which
Yes.
Robert Pattinson is in.
On Netflix,
And-
right?
Yep.
Yeah,
and he was also,
I haven't seen that. It looked good.
That one is good.
It's on my queue, but
Um,
I ain't never seen it.
He was also in a movie called Beautiful Boy with
That's unfortunate.
no, it's named after a John Lennon song.
More unfortunate.
And okay, hold on, because that song is incredible. You
I'm sure it is.
Literally don't know what you're talking
Is
about.
pre-India Beatles or post-India Beatles?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's a John Lennon song. It's not a Beatles song. It's a John Lennon song. Yeah,
So,
it's a John Lennon song.
Yeah.
And it's what's Steve Carell's in it. Steve Carell plays his dad, and he's like a writer for the New York
shit.
Times. And Chalamet gets into drugs and shit like that. And so
Okay.
Steve Carell is
That's cool.
You don't have a son, so
No,
you
that
don't
sounds good.
understand. But no, I
Sounds
watched
like
that
a good
movie
movie.
when Dax was a baby, and I fucking cried my goddamn
Oh,
dick
yeah.
off. And I've watched it multiple times and cried my dick off every
Yeah.
time.
Sounds like a good movie.
It's an
Steve
incredible
Carell,
movie.
that motherfucker, he is not a... What's his... Offerman? What's his first
No,
name?
he's not Nick Offerman.
He's not Nick Offerman.
No.
He is in some dumb, stupid comedic shit.
Yes.
But the dude can do dramatic roles and play
dramatic
whatever,
acting
man. He's
is
fantastic.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Highly underrated, I
Because in
think.
that movie, he's like learning about drugs, like doesn't know shit about it. He
Yeah.
fucking tries meth one time so that he can like understand what's going on, and it's crazy. That's a great movie.
Fuck, man.
It's an
That does
Amazon
sound
movie.
good. Beautiful
It was-
Boy?
Yeah, it's an Amazon movie. It was like around the time that they got some fire shit. Amazon originals like Manchester by the Sea. You see Manchester
Yeah.
by the Sea?
I haven't.
Casey
I
Affleck?
know of it,
Bro.
but I know a lot about it. It's just I don't want to fucking watch that movie.
Bro, the thing about it.
It's,
I don't blame you.
It's
I don't
really
blame you.
good.
I don't blame you.
No.
No, I don't blame you. It's Jordan gives me shit for the heaviness of the movies that I like
Yeah.
too. I just like
Fucking Tuscan shit,
I'm a
bro. I know.
stone, bro. I'm a stone in my daily life, so I need a piece of media that's like, you got some tears in there, man. You got them. They're in there.
I do the
I
same.
need media to draw it out of me a little bit.
I'm not watching Marley and Me, bro.
I live anxiety and tension in my everyday life. This type of shit, Dune, these battles and shit, the heart racingness. I live that every day.
Fucking-
That's just how I operate.
What's his name? Spider-Man's girlfriend's in this movie.
Zendaya.
Yeah. She's fucking great in it too.
This movie was pretty good.
This movie's fantastic.
Yeah.
It is. It's highly worth when you have time to watch it, watching it. It's 2.5 hours, but it's,
Pretty intense, battly and whatnot.
I mean, it's a slow burn.
Yeah.
And also, perhaps it would be better to wait until the second one comes out. Because Dune, the old school Dune movie, is one movie. And it's fucking from the 70s, I think. So it's tough to do nice sci-fi back then. Pretty rough. But they did this one. They took the first book of Dune. They cut it in half, and he's doing it in 2 parts.
What is it about?
It's about kind of Game of Thronesy
Okay.
houses in this fucking like galactic empire,
Okay.
right? And there is one planet in the empire, Dune. It's got another name, Arachne. I can't remember the fucking name of it, but they call it Dune. It's just this big desert planet. But there's a mineral in the sands out there that is very difficult to gather. It's very dangerous to gather because of these giant ass fucking worms, sandworms that live in there and shit like that. So you got to harvest. It's called spice. You got to harvest the spice, and then you sell it off, and you become the richest house in the entire empire, right? Rivaling the emperor himself.
So they're fighting for Dune.
Yeah, and so basically, this story is this kind of up and coming House Atreya. The empire says, you have to go be the warden of Dune now. You got to go. And realistically, the house that was there before, House Harkonnen or whatever it is, they are the most rich and most powerful, most military fucking badasses in the entire empire at this point.
Because they've been selling the spice.
Yes. And so they got to leave. So they just fucking dip out. They kind of sabotage some of the gear and all this shit. But really, it's kind of a layup to ruin this other house because they're kind of too up and coming. So they might be threatening the empire's fucking shit. So he wants this new house to go there, invest a bunch of money, starts fucking building all this fucking shit, starts selling all this stuff, and then at that point they're the weakest they're ever going to be in the empire, and then House Harkonnen will come in and really fuck their shit up, and then no more House Atreya. Boom. Status restored, problem child taken out. But this kid, he's like this kind of messiah to the people that are native to Dune. They live in the fucking thing. Water is the most valuable thing there because you need water to live. It's the whole fucking big deal. As far as like world building and shit like that, it's fucking phenomenal. But
is that what's in their nose? Is water?
It recaptures like the humidity in your nose.
Oh shit!
Yeah, you wear these suits that just retain 99% of your water or something like that, right? So you don't have to drink for a very long time because there's no fucking water. Somebody dies in a duel, you fucking take their body and you reclaim all the water in that body because it helps the fucking tribe.
No shit.
It's a whole fucking deal. It's fucking great, dude. It's fucking great.
Lit.
But the first movie is kind of a slow burn. And by you hit like apex of the story, shit's going on. The fucking Harkonnens are coming back in. The fucking House Atreya is fucking gone at this point. They fucking killed the old man. The kid is the prince. But essentially, he's got to go out to the fucking desert people at that point. He's a fucking runaway at this point. But the second book, he kind of rallies the desert people to become his own and all this stuff, and they fucking overtake the shit. It's fantastic story. Fantastic story.
But this one cuts out right before all that?
Yeah. And so it's a pretty slow burn for 2.5 hours. Jason Momoa's in it. Fucking who's
second
the
one's
other
probably
guy?
Gonna be fired.
Oscar Isaac.
Okay.
That
guy's a real fucking lefty piece of shit, Oscar Isaac.
Well, most of them are.
He's a real lefty piece of shit, that one.
Josh Brolin's in it.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
He's in it.
Star-studded, huh?
Yeah, he gets fucked up.
Javier Bardem. Wow.
Yeah, buddy.
Dave Bautista.
Yeah,
Jesus
Dave
Christ.
Bautista's in it. Yeah, he'll be in the next one, too. Yeah, he's a big player. But it's good shit, man. And it's a beautiful movie. The soundtrack's fantastic. It's a fucking great movie. But yeah, you need that 2.5 hours. So if you and Jordan ever have fucking beautiful date night or whatever and stuff like that, you got 3 hours to devote to popcorn and movies. You should be watching this movie. It's gorgeous. It's fantastic.
Deal.
I forgot why we started talking about Dune. Sorry. We were just on some movie shit.
I don't know.
So there's your international stories, ladies and gentlemen.
Virgin Islands.
Virgin Islands. Let's do that.
That's a pretty quick
close out the deal. I think I had.
Oh,
Fuck
my
me
God.
running. What the shit just happened? We got our 17 points, then we never recovered. 17-41. What is this? What is happening
my
right now?
God.
Okay, so 49ers. For those of you just listening, we're checking back in with Seahawks 49ers game. Third quarter ended up
Scored
Seahawks
25
got
points.
0 and 49ers got 7. Fourth quarter 0 for the Seahawks, 18 for San Francisco, and we got 2.5 minutes left in the game. 17-41. How are you just not soul crushed at this point? If you're the Seahawks, there's no way you're winning this game. That is a butt fuck.
There's 2.5 minutes left. You're done.
Jeez. Gino.
Well, that was nice.
24 out of 33.
250,
250 yards.
one interception.
I feel like
Jeez.
the rushing stats haven't changed at all.
No, he had like 54 yards.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Metcalf, 9 for 133 yards. Yeah, I feel like they've just done absolutely nothing. Way to come off the second half and just drop the fucking ball, Seahawks. This is how I anticipated this game going. This is exactly how I anticipated this going.
That's rough business.
Wow, buddy. All right. Let's talk about Virgin Islands. Let's do this. I think I pulled up
So
the...
the U.S. Attorney for the Virgin Islands had opened up had begun to sue J.P. Morgan Chase for knowingly investing or financially involving themselves with Jeffrey Epstein and his human trafficking ring.
Yes.
Right? A few
Along
days
with
later.
Deutsche Bank. But
Yeah.
the lawsuit was only J.P. Morgan.
Yeah. A few days later, or the same day that it was opened up, actually, Joe Biden went to the Virgin Islands on vacation.
To relax for the holidays.
Yes. A few days later, that U.S. attorney was fired.
Just days after she sued J.P. Morgan Chase, accusing the bank of pulling the levers in Jeffrey Epstein's sex crimes and turning a blind eye as he abused minors at his villa.
Supposedly for doing it without telling the president. Or the whatever the leader of the Virgin Islands is. That's why.
Yeah, because she
didn't-
was fired by the governor of the
So that's
Virgin
what it
Islands,
is,
I
the
believe,
governor,
technically, yeah.
So that's what it is. No, that's right. Can't be that's right.
You done pissed
U.S.
off the
Virgin Islands. Can't be the president.
Are you
Yeah,
done
so-
pissed off the World Economic Forum?
Yep.
Because you're fucking with J.P. Morgan Chase.
Yep.
Which is they're tied to. I'm sure J.P. Morgan's at fucking WF
I
right now.
fucking
They're in
bet.
Davos, 100%.
They're kicking in Davos.
But yeah, it was the meme is fantastic. This thing went around. It was Epstein's sex trafficking was aided by J.P. Morgan. A U.S. Virgin Island lawsuit says. We see, Alex Jones kind of just getting ready, and then a couple days later, Biden arrives in U.S. Virgin Islands to relax between holidays, and he's Alex Jones is like, come on. And then we have epic fucking demon eyes. Alex Jones freaking out when Virgin Islands Attorney General loses her job days after suing J.P. Morgan Chase in connection
Right.
with Jeffrey Epstein's probe.
And those particular dates, like on that
They're a
one,
little weird.
don't exactly line up, but
Yeah.
I have an article that I'm trying to find here that is from excuse me, that is from the 27th. So it's from the same day that Joe Biden went there. So
Okay.
let's
I think it's more or less it's like post
29.
post Christmas they go there for New Year's. It's like kind of,
Yeah.
and he usually goes every year. He just hadn't gone the last few years because of COVID and whatnot.
Right.
I do believe the governor was very happy to see him back after a number of years.
Yes.
It was very sycophantic when I read the article.
Yeah. 29th. So
Again, I think we're getting too fucking tied up to Epstein. I think we need to look at Ghislaine. I think she was the headmaster. I think she
you're right.
owned Epstein.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I think Ian for that one.
So isn't that nice? Fired for opening up an investigation or for suing J.P. Morgan Chase, just didn't tell governor.
Yeah,
Not
stay in your lane,
suspicious
I
at
guess. Stay in your lane.
Why
This
would
is
you
about
wanna-
this is about procedure, Donovan.
Why would
This
you
is
wanna-
about procedure.
Why would you want to hold a huge global bank accountable for knowingly investing in, a human trafficking
Yeah.
ring? Why would you want to do that?
Shh, Andrew Tate. He's a human trafficker. We need
That's
to go
right.
after him. Don't ask about Ghislaine or anything like that. Why is Ghislaine alive? Because she's the one in charge of it. That's
Videos
why.
today of, like, Andrew Tate's car's being taken out of fucking storage. Yeah, probably has a shitload of bills to pay. Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if he has a lot of bills to pay. What's the easiest thing to sell? A fucking Bugatti.
Yes.
Pretty easy to sell.
Yeah. I need a quick infusion of liquidity.
$1.5 million
Sell one of my Bugattis.
would be is easy. Yeah, get rid of a Bugatti and I think I'll be okay.
Bugatti.
The fuck?
Bugatti. Yeah.
Idiot, dude.
Yeah. Do you find that article? You can send it to me? No? I can show it to the people.
I have it. Like I said, these are
You can read.
29th.
Okay.
So, yeah, this one's from 29th. Sorry. Totally forgot. That's what I was doing.
Fucking late in the game, part 3 action right here,
yeah,
baby.
I didn't know
That's
you
what's
were
going
waiting for
on.
me. That's my bad. Yeah, so that one's from the 29th. So,
Okay.
I think that's the earliest one that I have here. I had one yesterday for it.
Part of the problem here is now I'm really gonna have to watch Dune tonight. I just talked all it up. I'm like, I gotta watch that fucking movie
It's
again.
fire. The movie's fire.
I love that movie.
yeah.
All right, so this is from CBS News.
Yeah.
Hashtag fake news. That's the problem these days, man. We're trying to like news sources is all about build narratives these days. That's all they're good for. You can't even use them for facts anymore, damn near.
Yeah.
It's so difficult.
So this says the Attorney General for the U.S. Virgin Islands filed a lawsuit this week against J.P. Morgan Chase, alleging that the bank giant benefited from Jeffrey Epstein's illegal sex trafficking enterprise that helped conceal the ongoing exploitation of women and girls at his property on Little St. James.
Gifted to him by CEO of Victoria's Secret.
Yes, Lex Wexner. The suit, filed Tuesday in Manhattan federal court, accuses J.P. Morgan Chase of providing banking services to Epstein even after he became a registered sex offender in the U.S. Virgin Islands following his 2008 conviction for soliciting a minor for prostitution in Palm Beach, Florida. It also accuses the financial institution of failing to comply with federal regulations, including records and reporting requirements that may have flagged Epstein's crimes to U.S. officials before they eventually came to light in a deliberate attempt to hide Epstein's suspicious activities. Remember, he was doing stuff like asking how much money he could take out without triggering, federal
red
records and
flags
stuff
and
like
shit.
that. Yeah. Which apparently they're supposed to report if you ask how much money can I take out without you reporting it.
Which we learned about part of this when Jim Jordan and what's his name? I can't remember, that kind of rando representative, I think from Ohio or some shit, when they did that press conference about the investigations they're going to do on Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And I forget what they're called, but there's these specific documents that banks need to follow when it comes to like suspicious activity reports.
Yes.
That's they need to do those things. And he was asking how much money I could take out without triggering one of these suspicious activity reports.
Yeah.
Which itself triggers a suspicious activity report.
That's nice.
Yeah. Remind me, I got a question for you about this after this.
Yeah. No, what you got? I mean, that's
it, right?
That's pretty much it.
Given the new makeup of Congress and all the investigatory power of this new Congress, we've heard about the Biden investigations. I want them to start going out like a financial investigation after Epstein. I mean, we locked up all these people, right? We locked up Epstein. He fucking #didn't kill himself in prison. And then we locked up Maxwell for this thing. But we have no idea who's on the client list. We've done no investigation into any of this in a congressional government of the people, by the people, for the people status, when it would, if they're talking about going over fucking suspicious activity reports for the Biden family, why don't we do suspicious activity reports for fucking Epstein and Maxwell?
So
why don't we find out who was on that fucking client's list? Why don't we do this?
Here's why I think this won't happen. Is because
it's not politics.
Because I think there were two sides to the people involved with Jeffrey Epstein. I think that we've talked about this a little bit before, right? I agree with you that I believe that Ghislaine Maxwell had a larger role than the general public believes, and that Jeffrey Epstein had the American connections and global connections that Ghislaine Maxwell and whoever her puppet master is needed to get done whatever they were trying to get done, right? Excuse me, which is probably just general moving and shaking in whatever they win, whatever way they want at whatever time, right?
Yep.
So I believe the people that they brought there to this island and got them to fuck minors, I believe that some of them knew about this and some of them did not, right? And I believe
Like,
that
I'm in the system already. I might as well just
some of
keep
the people
playing.
have that proclivity. They're like, I'm into it. If you're telling me I can go to Fuck Island and have sex with a minor, I'm interested in that. And
Oh,
some people
or
who
like-
meet Jeffrey Epstein and he says, you're a normal guy, I'm a normal guy, why don't you come to little St. James Island and you kick it? And you get there and there's a girl and he says, yeah, check out all these 19-year-olds. Aren't they hot as fuck? Don't you want to have sex with one of them?
And really,
and
they're
you say,
16,
absolutely.
17.
And then the next day he says, didn't you enjoy that 16-year-old pussy that you had?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And when
Gotcha.
you go
I'm
home,
I'm following.
he says you can either do what I ask you to do, or everyone knows that you came here and you fucked a child, and
Yeah.
we'll go up from there.
Okay.
So I think that there's a ton of people. I'm not, just to be clear, right? I can't fault anybody for finding themselves in that position. If you didn't know you were having sex with a minor, you didn't know that. You had no idea.
Okay.
I fault you for.
I mean,
I
I know what you're
fault
saying.
you for playing. If they lie to you, if you don't know, you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not forgiving anybody because you still had sex with a minor. If you
Yeah.
don't know, you don't know.
yeah.
If you continue to play along in a blackmail scheme instead of saying, "Listen, I fucked up because you lied to me. I'm not going to do this."
Mm-hmm.
I fault you for that because you're a piece of shit, because you should be honest, because honesty is the way to go. Even if your career is going to go down the hill, down to shit, and you're probably going to go to jail.
The Matt Gates model.
You need to be honest.
Yeah.
That's you should be honest all of the time,
Yeah.
especially because you fucked up.
Yeah.
Right?
The Matt Gates model. Yeah.
I can't fault you for finding yourself in that position because you didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
If you went there with the express intent to have sex with a minor, and then you went home and you thought no one was ever going to say anything, and instead Jeffrey Epstein said, also, if you don't do what I ask, I'm going to tell everyone what you came here and did.
Yeah.
I've already been in jail. Who gives a shit? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You're an extra piece of shit because you knew everything that was happening and you're still playing along in it.
Yeah,
Either
yeah.
way, I believe there are people in our government, in our leadership structure, that
Leadership.
are on both sides of that aisle. That either went there knowingly or went there accidentally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like didn't go there accidentally, but accidentally involved themselves in this deal, that are now wrapped up in it. And they know that if Jim Jordan, if anybody's allowed to investigate this, they will get found the fuck out. If the little black book that Ghislaine has is released to the public, they'll get found out. They let people, Bill Clinton, whatever, get thrown out there because they're like, that guy's already 80 years old. Who cares?
And
If
he's
they
out of,
find
and he's out of the game.
If they find out, are they going to send him to prison? Are we going to send Bill Clinton to prison, even if we find out that he had sex with 30 women that were 16 years old at the time?
Yeah.
Are we going to send him to prison? It's going to take. He's going to die waiting to go to fucking to go to court
Yeah.
because he's old, right? Quote unquote, because he's old. He'll die. He's not going to go to prison. Any of those people that they're willing to give up aren't actually going to go to prison, and
Yeah.
that's why they're willing to talk about them. That's why Jeffrey Epstein died.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who
Who
cares?
cares? Who's he going to tell? We'll send Ghislaine to prison for the rest of her life, and who's she going to tell? No one, because we'll kill her too, and she knows that. We'll kill her, everybody that she knows.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
You are not in it. That's why I think that will never happen, is because there's too many
Yeah.
people that are either intentionally or unintentionally involved that are unwilling to acknowledge their involvement in it.
Bunch of fucking cowards.
Yeah, and even if it isn't people within the government, it's their donors, people that they owe money to, or that gave them money that they're financially involved with, that will all be in prison. Or people that are just too financially tied within the government itself, that if they go to prison, it can't continue to function.
Yeah.
Fucking the Kochs or the whoever the fucks. I'm not implying anybody,
anybody.
but
Yeah.
anybody
Of
with
that
enough
stature.
you know what I'm saying? That has enough money that they are actually the government.
All the smart people who essentially run the thing,
The technocrats.
who
Yeah.
we don't know their name because
Yep.
they're smart enough to not let us know their name.
People are so rich that you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Those people.
Because you got to remember, George Soros is a flunky
Right.
because people know his name.
Right.
I don't like this at all, bro. This paints,
That's why I think that won't happen. And it's the same deal with the JFK stuff. You know, we don't even really need to dive into it later because the gist of it is they're
Nothing.
not going to tell you everything
Yeah.
because at that time, I think at that time, they still thought they could get away with everything. And we've just progressed too quickly. And they kept a record of fucking everything because they're the government and they're idiots.
2X25. Re-up that 2X25.
Yes. So they continue to block stuff because they're like, some of these guys
Yeah.
are still alive. And the secrets that we found out about this and the influence that we've gained because of it is still active. And we cannot allow people to understand
don't-
what this is.
I don't like this at all. You're blackmailing the shit out of me right now.
Yeah, the
I don't like
JFK
it.
thing was the thing was what kicked it off. All
Yeah.
this stuff for me, you know.
Like, I understand a little bit now, like, why. Because it drives me nuts, like, listening to fucking Timcast. Luke is always fucking. He always brings everything back to Epstein, right?
Yeah.
Always. Always. But it fucking makes sense.
Yeah,
Because if the entirety of all the shit we look at and we talk about, and the governmental this, if it's all essentially controlled by a fucking ring of extorted or willingly involved players like that, which it
Right.
probably fucking is, it's all just a fucking facade.
yeah,
It's all just a facade that doesn't actually fucking matter. And it's up to these fucking World Economic Forum motherfuckers just to run everything.
right.
The Davos group, the fucking Bilderberg fucking group.
And this is just one aspect, right? Like it's not like Jeffrey Epstein.
No, that's
is the
one
leadership-
aspect of it.
Yeah,
That's
he's-
just one fucking avenue.
right.
That's
there's,
it.
There's still it's because that's a lot of many people are like, well, it couldn't be because too many people are have to keep a secret like that. That's Jeffrey Epstein is just one guy. He's just one guy who just happened to run this particular part.
Yes. Anybody
Just
that downplays
island,
that
you
shit
know? Yeah.
has no concept of what the strength of compartmentalization is.
Yeah,
See how
all
I
the
nailed
other
that?
stuff is still going on.
Yeah.
All the
It's
financial
all that-
stuff, all
yeah,
of those
but they're
other
all in their
aspects.
own little fucking little
Right.
pod, so they can't give each other up because they don't know each other fucking exist necessarily. They might have a vague understanding. There's other cells out there. There's other players out there, but I don't know who the fuck they are. If I was tortured, if I had my fucking family threatened or whatever, I could not give you that information because I do not know.
Right.
It's because whatever the powers that be at this point, literally, they've made it that way so that even Jeffrey Epstein, no matter how much he wanted to rat everybody out to save his own skin or try to cut a deal, or even Ghislaine Maxwell, which, again, I think Ghislaine Maxwell probably knows way more than Jeffrey Epstein did, which is why she's still alive.
Yeah.
Because if she had an ounce of thinking that her life was threatened, she's squawking.
Well, and she probably just has some type of fail-safe set up that if she
That's
dies,
what I mean.
If she
Yeah.
dies, then X amount of thing gives she's like I have it on just on a release to something attached to my heart that if it stops, some wild stuff
yes.
that's like
Some James
there's-
Bond movie
there's
shit.
a sensor attached to my heart that if my
Oh, I
heart
love that.
stops, then it's gonna unlock a key to a website on the internet, and this file is gonna get emailed to every
Oh,
news
boo.
agency on the fucking planet. That's real. That's my black book.
I
Like,
love every fucking second of
yeah,
that.
it's
I
some
love every
dirty
second of
stuff
that.
like that. That I want to say that might be too heavy, but it's 2023. Like we live in such a
Nothing-
crazy
yeah.
time that she might have an enormous scar on her
The
chest.
longer
that
we
is
live,
a sensor for
hey,
her.
she had a fucking double bypass, bro. It's fine.
right.
She's part of the Zip
Too
Club.
much blow when she was younger. Her heart couldn't take it. She has a pacemaker.
Did you
now.
see? Speaking of too much blow,
Oh God.
did you watch that fucking? I think it was on Your Mom's House or on Two Bears. They showed that gal that did too much fucking coke and left too much coke in her nostril and had to have reconstructive surgery. Had a piece of her scalp used to come down here. She had a vein taken out of her cheek to be put in up here so it
Oh,
can supply
my
blood.
God.
And so now for the rest of her life, she's got this reconstructed nose because it started. She called it like flat nose or whatever. Basically, all the blood vessels in her nose died. And so her nose wasn't getting any fucking blood. And so now for the rest of her life, she has this little hairy spot right on her nose because it came off her scalp. And then she's going to have this fucking vein that runs down from her scalp down to her nose to keep the blood
my
pumping and shit.
God.
That's what happens when you do too much coke. Yeah, you don't clean your nose out.
That's wild.
I think that was on the latest Two Bears. Because if it was the latest YMH, you would have seen it.
Right.
But it must have been on the latest Two Bears.
Oh, that's insane.
It was fucking wild. That one was special.
That's horrible.
Fucking basement dweller. I've determined you are a basement dweller.
Oh yeah.
That's
It's
where
bad.
you're there now.
It's bad news.
I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud that you're a basement dweller.
I can't wait to pick up one of those Garth shirts. Where the body's God. It's
Oh my
so
God.
good. It's so perfect. Him dragging out that fucking wrapped up carcass. That's too much.
Bro. Yeah, we need to come up with like a line of merch for this
Yeah.
fucking weatherman in Erie. Something. There's some gold there somewhere. We're gonna
Yeah,
review the
fuck that
footage,
guy.
you know? Let's find out. Oh, Jesus. This is good. I think we're about ready to wrap this segment up.
Yeah, that's
So
my Epstein take.
I'm
That's
there
it.
for
That's
it.
the final, huh?
Oh, wow. They got another one in.
23 to 41.
23
Good
to 41.
Christ.
I don't even need to check the picture to know I didn't win any fucking money. This has
Oh,
been
I
a
don't
dry
know.
year
I
this
don't
year,
know what
bro.
Mine is.
I've put a lot of I bet
Check
a
it,
lot of
see if
money.
I won.
No, I don't want to fucking. Even if you did
Wouldn't
now,
that
I'm not
be
gonna
nice?
fucking tell you. All right, so we're-
I never look.
Seahawks 3. This motherfucker.
Did I win?
No,
Oh,
it does start with a D though.
is it Dan?
Nope.
Oh.
Who runs the joint?
Oh, really?
Not runs the joint. Who runs the racket?
Yeah. What a bastard.
Yeah, I mean, has he won it all this year?
I don't know.
I hope. I mean,
I don't know.
you've
I
been
never
doing this
know
shit
if
for
I win.
fucking. He's been running this racket for decades. If he's been
Yeah.
running the numbers for this long, brother he deserves to get paid every now and
I
again.
never know when I win. I know when I win when Barbara tells me or Dennis calls me a motherfucker or something like that, you know? He slaps the money on the table and he says,
There you
Yep.
go, man.
yep, out here, that's another dinner for me is what that is.
That's
That's
right.
nice.
Is that what bought your burrito the
That's
other
why I
fucking
got-
day?
That's why I got barbecue, bro. He
That's
came in and I
right.
said, I'm buying barbecue tonight. That was excellent.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of figured that was the
Yeah,
case
that's almost always the case.
because that was the deal, right?
Yeah.
And then the whole family wins. Hey, guys, I want some money. We're having fucking barbecue tonight,
Yep.
and nobody's got to cook.
Yep.
Hell yeah, baby. All right, with that, give me some socials, and we will close out this bitch.
Yes. thank
Unless you
very
have
much,
anything to
everyone.
add.
No, that was perfect. It's this perfect end on a horrific Seahawks wild card
Okay.
loss. So as if we didn't know
course.
it was going to happen.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for
I
joining
told
us.
Dennis this was going to happen.
We'll be back in just a few minutes for part 4 of Salt of the Streets, episode 140. I am Donovan. I am at Alpac_Donovan on Instagram and Salt of the Street on Twitter. Colin is at Big Bird Offie on both those things. You can find us at Salt of the Street on our Instagram, our Facebook, our Patreon, and you can find all of that at saltofthestreets.com. Thank you. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Bye.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you